Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the updated Commander's Core studio. As you can tell, if I've edited this correctly, Eddie should be right over there, depending on which way I put our cameras, which way I'm pointing. But yes, we are, even though Eddie looks like he's in the jungle. That is what you're in, right?
Yeah,
It's a jungle seat. This is the same room, actually. We've got two cameras going on, obviously, and yeah, this should be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right, so on this fun episode, what are we talking about, Eddie?
Today, it's nearing the end of 2023, so we're kind of doing a retrospective, a little look back. What are the best budget commanders of 2023? Not just like commanders that are budget, that are less than $1 is our basic criteria, but also like commanders that lend themselves to a deck that can be built on a budget.
100%.
They're not relying on, Intruder Alarm or...
Intruder Alarm's like $1 now.
Is it?
Yes, it got reprinted. Yeah, so yeah, you can rely on Intruder Alarm now. I mean, I can't because it's not $100.
Doesn't rely on like Mana Crypt, Dockside.
There you go.
I'll take it up a notch.
That's what proxies are for, Eddie.
It's true. But then we might as well not play budget.
I don't. I mean, I personally, I have nothing against proxies, but I don't play them, and I just like playing my little cheap cards. So, oh yeah. So unless Wizards springs anything on us in the next month, which they might just throw out another set. They might throw out. I'm trying to just name a actual product that that they wouldn't come out with, but Marvel just got released.
Post Malone's Christmas album.
There you go. Post Malone's Christmas album. What's a popular show these days? What did I just watch on Netflix? All the Light You Can't See. Very good.
Oh, sure.
Make sure you watch that. But unless they have some kind of a new partnership that just comes out with miscellaneous commanders before the end of the year, this should be a pretty good list.
I think so. Yeah. And I mean, there were 390 some commanders that we had to pick from. There's more commanders, one per day.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I should just do an episode at some point just looking at it, like the graph over the past couple of years, just where we're going too far down the rabbit hole right now. Let's jump into it. So we're going to be talking about the best budget commanders we're each picking. Let's start with Eddie's pick. Eddie, you're the guest here.
So as you can see, I'm wearing a Simic shirt, as you would expect.
You would expect that.
And as you would expect, my first pick is Simic Commander.
And what does Simic like to do, Eddie?
Simic likes to ramp.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and draw cards.
Oh, does this commander
do
those?
Very original. It does. It does.
At least it does it in a very exciting way, and I like this pick.
Yeah. So, like, I'm all on... I understand that it's a meme at this point. Simic Commanders do those things, and they're bland, and, a lot of people
There's nothing bland about this art, though. You've got Rainbow Cat Chariot. Like
I know. It's great. The card is Inga and Essek.
Yep.
So this is a card that is 2 green-blue for a 4/4 Human God. It says creatures you control have vigilance and the ability to tap for 1 mana of any color, but this can only be used to cast a creature spell.
Yep.
And whenever you cast a creature spell, if 3 or more mana from creatures was spent to cast it, you draw a card. So we got ramp, we got card draw.
Yep.
Check, Simic Commander, done.
That seems exactly what Simic Commanders want to do.
Yeah, so it's kind of an homage to one of my favorite commanders, which is Inga.
Yep.
And
I like it. You're not an Inga fan?
I'm not an Inga
Enters
fan.
the battlefield, scry 3 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
or when it dies,
Nice.
scry 3, something like that.
It's pretty jank, which I do love jank, but
yeah. But the combination is great.
The combination is great, yeah. So I like it for a budget pick because it really lets you use any cards that you want to build with, budget or not. And sure, you could just do Simic good stuff, Harmonize, Cultivate. All those cards are on the table. They're good. They'll make a strong deck. But one thing I really like these more generic commanders for that I think some people miss when they're evaluating, it's just too bland. I would never do that. I'm too hipster. And I've been there. I've had that attitude. But
everyone
like you can really kind of dial in on a sub-theme, and this is flexible enough to let you do that. So like, even though it's not on the card, it gives your creatures vigilance and the ability to tap for 1 mana of any color. One thing I've really noticed with my Essek deck is if you give things like Flash, Wrath Capuchin, the new Gandalf, things like that, you can really kind of swing in, get your attacks in, and then hold back. Maybe you have a bunch of activated abilities, which doesn't work for this because you can't use the mana for that. But it really lets you kind of find a sub-theme and dial in on that. So you could do Flash, you could do tokens, because it doesn't say non-token creatures.
That's
you
true.
have this ability.
That's
so
true.
you could do that. They've changed tribal to be more kindred is the term they're using these days. And so you could do like a kindred deck. So you have a bunch of a certain type. Like it's really flexible. So you can use whatever budget cards you'd like and go that direction. My one warning is, anytime you build into a commander really hard and you're giving activated abilities to creatures, if your commander gets removed, those creatures no longer have that ability.
Yep.
So you kind of either need to protect your board or get mana advantage in other ways 100%. That last beyond when Inga and Azakara.
Yeah, well, if someone casts a Wrath and that was all your ramp, you're like, oh no. Oh no,
we're in trouble.
My commander costs 6 and I can't cast it.
Yeah, and so there's all sorts of interesting deck building ways you could go about it. So it says, for example, whenever you cast a creature spell, if 3 or more mana from creatures was spent to cast a draw card. So that kind of, you assume that's just going to be used from their own ability to give other creatures that ability. But you could have a creature that taps for 3 mana by itself.
Llanowar Tribe, essentially.
Llanowar Tribe. There's all sorts of creatures that can tap for more than 1 mana, and that. And you could use 1 creature to draw a card by tapping it. So all that is to say, this is a cool card. It seems kind of generic on the nose, but it's super good for budget because you can really build it in whatever way you want. It's kind of enhancing things just naturally, so I really like it.
100%. And any commander that allows me to really utilize untap effects too, I like. So I absolutely love that.
Yep.
And on top of that,
the budget intruder alarm card.
Yeah. And then kind of commanders that you can put your own little neat spin on restrictions. You have your enchantment deck that's all enchantments, right? Your Sithis deck was all enchantments.
Yeah. Sithis is another one of those cards that is so generic on its face, but I tried to dial it in, and other than lands, I have no non-enchantments in the deck.
And so with this one, I mean, not that I'm saying that you go all creatures, but you could go, because again, you need to benefit from creatures that cost 3 or more, essentially, right? You could just go all 3 mana and up creatures, essentially. So you could go with that, and then you could have your dinosaur hippo companion, and then you could have fun times like everyone wants to have, right?
Yeah, everybody loves Krug.
Yeah. All right. Love the pick. All right. Let's go on to my pick, even though I put this document in the wrong order and I put all of Eddie's picks first. Now I have to really scroll down. Here we go. Ovika, Enigma, Goliath, Enigma. The wickedly talented. Do you remember the John Travolta?
Oh, yeah.
Fadine Mazel? Ovika, Enigma, Goliath. A 6/6 Phyrexian Nightmare that costs 7 mana and is it? Flying Ward 3, pay 3 life. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create X 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin creature tokens for X to the mana value of that spell that gain haste all turn. This only costs 34 cents. And Eddie, I know you said earlier, and I didn't break the rule that we set before it, but I only included commanders that were just less than $1 or $2, just because I was like, I just want to highlight just really how you can just hammer in budget. So you know what? I'm beating Eddie on this.
Oh, all my commanders are less than $1.
I'm kidding. Dang it.
I did that too.
Neither of us did it. Oh, darn. Okay, well, yeah, you're probably right. Dang it. No, Rowan is not less than... Oh, she is.
Yep.
I forgot about that other version. Okay, anyway.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm losing. Anyways. So I love this commander because this commander, when it comes to budget, a commander that can give you just a wide range of possibilities and a wide range of directions that you can do with it is going to benefit you a lot in budget, especially one that will protect itself and then also can just give you a win condition in and of itself too.
Yep.
So this commander, you could take, again, any kind of non-creature direction. You could take artifacts. You could take enchantments. I don't recommend that in Izzet, but you could do it. You could take it in, spell slinging, instant sorceries. I mean, you could just take it literally probably all mana rocks, and it would probably work pretty well. I mean, mana rocks and you need draw in there too, but yeah, literally just getting all the mana that you need, dumping your commander, because your commander is 7 mana, but again, if you just lean so heavily into mana rocks, if you cast a Dreamstone Hedron for 6 mana, you're getting 6 hasty goblins with that too. So yeah, it's a commander that lends itself very well to budget, and you can build this thing so cheaply that you can really dominate the board with it.
Yeah, honestly, this was very nearly one of my picks as well.
I will mention that Eddie got to pick first too.
I did.
Eddie's the guest, and I said, Eddie, you're picking first, number 1, because you're the guest. Number 2, so I can make this claim on the show, and then I can just say Eddie's picks are my picks too.
Yeah, no, Ovika is great. So I have a Brutaclad deck that I am in love with, and Ovika's in the 99. It's been just a bomb every time it lands. I've honestly considered changing Brutaclad into an Ovika deck because it just is so proficient at just making tons of tokens.
But then you can't do your smog.
Oh, yeah, I haven't done that, to be clear, but I thought about it. But yeah, I did put an Ovika list together just because I'm a brewer and I just love putting lists together. And yeah, like you said.
I'm not at all.
No, that's not your thing.
No. I don't like building decks.
But yeah, like you said, normally you have, I don't know, anywhere from 10 to 20 forms of ramp depending on what the deck calls for. For this one, yeah, you can definitely go on that 20.
40 if you really want. You'd be like, I just have 80 mana in this turn and I'm not going infinite.
Yeah, it's so good. And it's got the ward and the 3 and pay 3 life, so it's going to protect itself a little bit.
Well, a little bit. And then also, too, if you do kind of have a balance of cards, and have some spell sling in there, too, you can have some counter spells in there, and then your opponent is do I even try to deal with it? Because if I do, I'm just losing 3 life, paying 3 extra mana, and then they counter my spell.
Yeah. And so here's another aspect that I really like about high mana value commanders, because they do have like this kind of, like, I can't wait for 7 mana. I got to be doing stuff early. In my experience, playing hundreds of games, if you are just kind of dirtling and you're not really doing much and someone else is progressing the board, you allow someone else to be the problem.
Yes, they're the threat. They're the problem. Let me help deal with them with my mana rocks.
Yeah, and so you just kind of get to sit back and develop your board state, and then all of a sudden, like, you pay 7 mana. The next turn, like, you can make 30 tokens. Pretty easy.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it's not as big of a hindrance to have a high mana value commander as you'd think.
I think so too. All right, so you're saying fantastic pick. Thank you.
It's a great pick.
Let's move on to your next one. Galta and Mavrin.
Yeah, so apparently I like the pair ups.
I like them too, but I just still find it just like when they first announced, because like Mario does like the teasers, right?
Yep.
And they're like, oh my gosh, like there's a dinosaur vampire, and I'm like, oh cool. And I'm thinking like there's a dinosaur. I mean, there's a dragon,
like big fangs.
There's a dragon vampire, right?
Oh yeah,
there is.
Actually,
like, and that's not a pair up. Like there is a dragon. It's a vampiric dragon. And so I'm like, oh, cool! Like a dinosaur got bit, and now it's a vamp. Nope. They're just teamed up. They just combined both of it.
They're just buddies.
You gotta do what you gotta do. But okay, all right. That aside, continue with your pick. Not me derailing.
So Galta and Mavrin, 3 green, white, total of 7 mana value for a 12/12 trample dinosaur vampire.
What is magic?
And then it says, whenever you attack, not when Galta and Mavrin attack, but just whenever you attack, choose one. Create a tapped and attacking XX green dinosaur creature token with trample, where X is the greatest power among other attacking creatures. Or create X/1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink, where X is the number of other attacking creatures. So, really, like, just on the face, it gives you, again, that flexibility that we've talked about. Where you can very easily go tall, have a really big creature, the other Galtas, the other...
I think all Galtas are 12, right?
Yeah. And so, it's Galta's definitely got a shtick. They've got a plan.
Give me double strike and you win.
But yeah, you can very easily go tall.
100%.
Or you can go super wide. Like, either of those triggers works. It's not exactly an ETB, so like you have to have it stick around to the combat step, but you're probably going to have done one of those things by the time you get to 7 mana again, and then you just get to profit right away. And backup plan, hit people in the face with your 12/12 commander.
Literally. And for 7 mana. It is a really cool commander, because I 100% agree that you can definitely go either way. You can go populate too if you really want to. If you're going to go the big route, I'd go populate as well, just to kind of take advantage of those giant tokens. You obviously can take advantage of some cards that some players really like doubling effects and stuff like that too. And I mean, it is a card that, I mean, those aren't budget, but
yeah. And I think one of the things that I considered when I was putting my list together is there's some themes, some archetypes that are super popular, and because they're super popular, they're really expensive. Like, the doubling seasons of the world, the, any of the doublers, triplers, whatever. But Selesnya is in the color pie where like green is going tall's thing. Some go wide, but white is the go wide color. And so like every set is going to have something that you can use to, make this deck more powerful. They're just, bread and butter Selesnya abilities that
100%
you're going to be able to find cards for.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. Great pick. All right, moving on. Let's skip down. I should have already scrolled. Here we go. Bilbo Birthday Celebrant. This is just okay. Powerful but derpy is kind of a sweet spot that I think it's sometimes hard to hit, but when they hit it well. 33 cents for this commander. I thought it was going to be a lot more expensive, but Lord of the Rings sold so much apparently that like everything's pretty cheap. And not everything, but there's one card that's not cheap, but that's another episode. A 2/3 halfling rogue. For white, black, and a green. If you gain life, you gain that much life plus 1 instead. 2, and then white, black, green, tap, exile, Bilbo Birthday Celebrant, search life for any number of creature cards within the battlefield, and then shuffle, activate if you have 111 or more life. I'm glad they put or more. That would be a bit hard to thread the needle right there. I mean, you could do it, but yeah. This, well, okay. That first part is nice, being able to just double up on life gain for different instances. I should say not double up, but like if you have different instances of life gain, we're like gaining 1 life a pop, like Soul Sisters essentially being like, yeah, okay, now you gain 2. That can help you out a lot. Also, though, this is the kind of commander that, like, if opponents see that you're anywhere near it, they're going to try to take you out. But also, the amount of life that you can gain once you have enough instances of life gain is pretty absurd. And, of course, there's ways to double life unexpectedly. What's that one? Beacon of Immortality.
Beacon of Immortality.
Is that what that is? Yeah. Instant speed, just like, oh, yeah, cool. I gained 60 life. Bye. And then, yeah, you get all the creatures out. And, of course, this is the kind of commander that you literally could just finish the game. You literally just activate, you go get all your creatures that come into play, and all of a sudden there's a Gary on the battlefield, and your devotion is 40. And then your opponents are gone.
Yeah.
Or you could just be like, yeah, I'll get whatever creatures I need, and then I win from there, hopefully, and swing out. So,
yeah.
What's your opinion on Bilbo?
Bilbo's great. His 111th birthday. Love it. It's,
11th? That's probably how they say it, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I love
They're
it.
hobbits.
It's such a good scene in the movie, so it's a great homage to the source material. No, I like it because I like cards that can like generate good stories. You know, Commander's an experience. And if you're not doing like EDH or like really cutthroat Commanders, like I want to win, sure, but I also want like a good, fun game. Yeah, and like if you can accomplish that, like congratulations, you've done something flashy.
You did the thing. Yeah, kind of like your deck built around Happily Ever After.
Yeah, which I won with last week, by the way.
Did you? Nice.
Yeah, so I love cards that like, sure, it's got a flashy aspect that you can work towards, and if you accomplish it, awesome. But this guy, you know, like just generically, if you're gonna gain life, gain that much +1, great, and you're in good colors for it. And I don't really quite understand. Like maybe it's because he had the one ring too long, so he got a little corrupted. But I don't quite understand the black color identity in Bilbo.
They threw that on like Frodo as well. I think it's because of the one ring.
Yeah.
There were those scenes where he was scary. He's like,
he got a little scary for a second there. But I do like that if you're gaining life, you can also use the black part of the color identity to like pay life and not have to worry about it as much as a non-life gain black deck.
Most definitely.
So, a lot of flexibility.
I do want to point out, because you did mention kind of like how this goes along with the story and like Bilbo like exiting essentially the celebration by just turning invisible, right? But how this would play out story-wise, because this doesn't make any sense that Bilbo then brings all the friends, all the creatures. So then after that, not too long after that, then I believe the ring wraiths show up. So is Bilbo a ring wraith friend, essentially? He's just like, yeah, everyone, come here.
I think accidentally.
Attack the town.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He probably didn't know that would happen.
Okay, this isn't like a Jar Jar Binks, like, you know, like Bilbo was in on the whole time, even though Bilbo had the ring the whole time.
I don't know. Maybe it is. Now we're going to start a
fan
whole new
theories, all right? Fan theories. Yeah. Let's take a quick break, little water break. We'll be right back. And we're back. Eddie, how was your water?
Oh, it was excellent.
Good. Good. Okay, so your next pick is
Rocco, street chef.
You know, chefs who just work on the street.
Yeah. I mean,
like a food stall vendor.
Like Rocco isn't above anything. He doesn't need to have a fancy restaurant or anything. He's just out with the people.
Absolutely, like a food truck. Like Rocco's got a food truck.
Yeah, he should have a vehicle like Buddy. That would be great.
And it's called Rocco's Modern Life.
Of course. Okay, so Rocco, street chef. Naya, so red, green, white. No extra mana, just 3 mana value to get him out. Elf Druid 2/4. At the beginning of your end step, each player exiles the top card of their library until your next. Sorry, this is really small font.
No, you're fine.
Zooming in.
That's my fault for giving you this. This is my other computer over here, so that's why Eddie can't see, because it's my computer.
The glass is not quite doing what they need. All right.
I get the good computer, Eddie's got the bad one.
Until your next end step, each player may play the card they exile this way. Second paragraph. Whenever a player plays a land from exile or casts a spell from exile, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature and create a food token. Yeah, so he's just out here divvying food out to everybody.
Everyone get this.
Yeah, and like, sure, they're paying him. He's getting something out of it, but you know, he's just a man of the people.
Well, it's like he's giving them land, and then they're giving him food.
Yeah,
it's kind of the reverse of what you'd think.
But okay, so I love Rocco because you know, we've talked about this again. It's card advantage in the command zone, so that's great.
Yes.
Granted, you're also potentially giving card advantage to other folks, but when they do the thing, then you get more benefits. So it's, you know, a typical group hug type scenario. But I love that this crosses a lot of different archetypes, and it plays into the political aspect of the game that I love. So you garner a little bit of good faith, you know, by like maybe you help someone hit their land drop that they might have otherwise missed. And it involves both playing from exile, which is definitely a big thing WotC's been loving lately.
My goodness, draw. And so many players out there love it too. Like Prosper is one of the most popular commanders by far.
Right. So you're sort of self-enabling it a little bit by Rocco's own trigger, but some other times like it'll just happen naturally.
Yeah.
So you'll just get some benefit from that.
Yep.
It involves +1/+1 counters.
Yep.
We've got green, red, white, very good colors for +1/+1 counters. And it also involves food/artifacts.
Yes.
So really, there's 3 different ways you could go about it.
Yeah.
And they all, I think normally I'm kind of scared of decks that like can maybe go in too many directions and get a little confused and then kind of struggle to do any one thing very good. But I think Rocco's kind of an exception where you can really find some really good support budget cards that let you kind of play into all of these things simultaneously,
100%.
and it'll still get a good result. At
Yes.
the end
Oh,
of it.
exactly.
And sure, if you want to focus in on one of those, absolutely, you can certainly do that. But he kind of is a jack of all trades. He's got some political aspects to him.
Yep.
And I just really like it. I found like I've always been a little hesitant about giving opponents card advantage, but I think this really walks the line carefully where you're getting enough reward out of it that it's
and when
worth
you're
it.
good at politicking too, like you are. I am not good at politicking. It's not like when someone's like, "Oh, I'm not good at poker," and then they are because they're just trying to shark you. Like no, like Eddie's actually very good at politicking. Like and being able to kind of work on a commander like this, I'm not surprised that you picked this one because you are very good at being like, "Hey, look what I did for you. Help me out."
Yeah, Mitch, I also appreciate how forthright you are in games.
I'm like, no,
though.
I'm going to take you out.
Gonna be the problem.
Yeah, I'm not. If you should probably take me out because if you don't, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you.
It's refreshing.
Exactly. So no,
Yeah,
I like the
Rocco is just great. I actually have a budget deck of Rocco that I've built.
Is it called Rocco's Modern Life? On
It
your...
is. So I'll toss the deck list to Mitch so you can put it in the description. So if you
No,
want,
I've
got
got to remember that. You got to remind me because I'm going to forget. People are going to be like, "Where's the deck list?" And I'll be like, "I forgot." Don't go ask Eddie.
Can't blame Eddie.
You can't
blame Eddie on
You
this.
can blame Eddie for mentioning it, but don't blame Eddie for that.
Yeah.
It's very nice you Eddie to share that one. So that's fantastic.
All right. Mitch's pick.
Mitch's pick number 3. I really just like I shouldn't have made these in the way because I have to scroll down so much. Okay, anyways, hey, look, a 5-color commander.
Shocker.
Shocker that Mitch picked a 5-color commander. So as a budget player, I love 5 colors. I know some players out there, and actually I was very hesitant to build my first 5-color deck because I'm like, I'm playing budget. Like, how do I make sure I can actually fix my mana that way? There were already plenty of ways. Gosh, when I built my first one years and years and years ago, there's even more ways now to help you out, essentially. But this kind of a commander is fantastic for a lot of reasons. Number one, let me go through the commander, actually. So, Omnath, Locus of All, 4/4 Phyrexian Elemental, Evil Omnath. For Wooburg, but the black in there is Phyrexian Black. If you would lose unspent mana, the mana comes black instead. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that card if it has 3 or more colored mana symbols in its cost. If you do, add 3 mana, any combination of its colors, put in your hand. If you don't reveal it, put in your hand. So this is one that you can really lean into, like, I was going to say like 3-color tribal, but it's more like 3-pip tribal, kind of essentially. You don't need, some players actually kind of misread that and are like, okay, I need like all 3-color spells. No, you just basically need like, okay, like Llanowar Tribe. Not that you'd play it in this, but like that's green, green, green. You could utilize that and that would still count for that. So you can definitely go really heavy into that because my goodness, that is a lot of extra free mana for you. And I absolutely love just a 5-color commander that's like, hey, I'm a mana bank. Just store up all this mana. It converts it to black, but it allows you to do some really janky things like Villainous Wealth. And that is one of my favorite cards, and I have an entire deck already built around that. And yeah, Omnath can definitely be built in that way, and I'm pretty sure I actually already did a deck on Omnath Villainous Wealth.
Yeah, what more is there to say? It's the culmination of Omnath's journey from mono green to the problem that he is now.
Yep.
But yeah, I love it. Honestly, I didn't even read it that way the first time. I thought it had to be 3 separate, but you're right. Yeah,
exactly. I think that's what many players think it is, but then it's actually just 3 pips. So, a lot of cards that you might not think actually hit that do hit that. So.
Yeah. At the same point, like if you're building your mana base out, you want to like kind of spread your colors out. So like why not both? It's one of those situations like you can definitely include cards for both. And
absolutely.
Yeah, and I like the 3-color cards, and it doesn't have to be just 3-color. It can 3 or more colors. So
yeah,
a lot of times the way Wizards of the Coast balances cards is if it is multicolor, like it can be a little more powerful because you have to be playing in more colors
because
to play the card.
Fixing is difficult, right?
Yeah.
Especially in a format when you get to turn 10.
Yeah, exactly. So like you do kind of eke out sometimes a little bit of advantage because you're playing those multicolor cards.
Well, and then you can use like Threefold Signal.
I love that card. Yeah, the Street Light.
The Street Light, because Street Lights are actually in Magic lore now.
Yep.
And cars. Yeah, no. So yeah, the Omnath, I think you can take it, and again, it's a commander that you can take in a lot of different directions. So I do like that aspect of it as well. Yeah, big mana, Omnath, fun times for all. All right, where are we at next?
We're on to my fourth pick. We're getting towards the tail end of this.
We are.
So, my next pick.
I already put up on the screen.
Yes. Rowan.
I'm ahead of you.
Scion of War.
Yep.
Colorless, red and a black for a 4/2 human wizard with Menache. Tap Rowan. Spells you cast this turn that are black and or red cost X less to cast, where X is the amount of life that you lost this turn. Activate only as a sorcery.
Yeah, I didn't realize this one was 90. I did not think this would be 92 cents. Because again, when you had this on list, I'm like, oh, there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah, no, she squeaks in under $1. She sure does.
Goodness, is that a card?
Yeah, and so I'm gonna be clear. Like Rowan, I think is probably the more powerful of the two.
I would, I would venture to say, definitely.
But I want to encourage folks to also consider her. Little brother Will.
Oh, here, let me put Will.
Not little brother, they're twins. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think twins. We don't know. I mean, one has to be little technically.
You'd think so.
One's born at least like 2 minutes later or whatever. So.
But Will is also great. I have Will in the 99 of a few of my decks. He's kind of very similar to Rowan. Vigilance 2/4 human wizard, except he lowers blue and white spells based on how much life you gain.
So the opposite.
So the opposite.
Which would you say is more abusable in Commander?
If you're going budgetless, I would say Rowan for sure. Like there's just so many good black spells that pay life.
I would still say in budget.
In budget too.
Well, because you have like the not a spell that pays life, but you also have just like the Wall of Blood type effects. You're just like, oh, okay, I pay 30 life. Now all my spells cost 30 less this turn. I'll tap and then I'll cast a threaten effect on Rowan to untap and then do it again. And then all my spells cost 60 less and you will lose.
I definitely think Rowan's probably just a hair above. I just want to make sure people don't discount Will because
Will's
a lot of times
powerful.
people think life gain is kind of a trap in Commander, which it can be. But they've printed enough like payoffs these days. And like, for example, my Happily Ever After deck that we mentioned earlier is in Azorius colors. And like last game I played, I had gained, 12 life in a turn.
Yeah.
Tap Will, like all my spells cast 12 less, and you're in blue, so
I haven't played that deck since you put Will in it. Oh, God.
It's so good. And then there's like plenty of blue spells that are like blue X, draw that many cards, you can just keep the train going.
100%.
It's so good. But yeah, these are both really powerful commanders.
Yes.
I would say like make the pick based on which just appeals to you more because they're both really powerful.
100%. I would say if I'm playing against two commander players though at a table, one's playing one playing the other, I'm going to try to take out the Rowan player first.
Yeah, I think Rowan has more ways to finish off the game once you really lean into her effect. I mean, Jai's Immolating Inferno. Bing, you're dead.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, and again, like you can, there's no card that's just like, hey, gain however much life you want to gain. I mean, like you pay mana into it to do that, but like in not mono black, in black there are ways to just pay life down to whatever amount you want, as long as you have life to give. So you literally can go down, again, just 30 life. You can't just like, oh, I just wanted to decide to gain 30 life. So yeah, again, with Rowan, you have the potential to set it up so you're like, oh, okay, all my spells cost absurd.
I think you get to the expensive, like, blowout turns quicker with Rowan.
Yes, and again, players think that like, okay, like there's a ton of untapped effects in blue and white, and there are, but also players also forget that most threaten effects allow you to target your own creature too. So yeah, just threaten your own creature,
that's
untap. Which is absurd because then you're like, okay, now I tap on 60, and then all of a sudden you're all gone.
Yeah, and I mean, blue has like the twiddle effects too. So
Yep. That's what I'm saying. Blue's great with that, but I think people discount Rowan on that because they're like, oh, there's no untap effects. It's like, well, first of all, you probably don't need them. Number two, when you're using them,
overkill.
It's overkill, but also, I mean, it's kind of fun. Do a threat effect. It's very fun to be like, all my black and red spells cost 120 less to cast.
Hey, you were talking about what was the spell that not exsanguinate, but the other like big black X spell, and then you reveal cards off of opponent's libraries. Oh no, that's in Grixis, isn't it?
I don't know which one you're talking about.
The one where you reveal cards from an opponent's library and then you steal those cards.
Oh, Frank Sanity?
No.
Oh, Villainous Well.
Villainous Well.
That's not in Grixis. That's in Sultai.
Sultai.
That's in your colors plus black.
I was gonna say maybe you could do with Rowan.
Rowan, that'd be just disgusting. I mean, I should just do it. I'll put that in Omnath. There you go. I'll do 5-color Omnath, tutor out Rowan, and then also Mischievous Poltergeist. And then
it's so easy.
It's very easy. I mean, I've made more convoluted decks. I've definitely done that. But I like the pick a lot.
Okay. Moving on.
Mitch's best Let's go to number 4. All right, here we go. King of the Oathbreakers. So this one, okay, let's just read it first. 3/3 Spirit Noble Flying that costs 2 in Orzhov colors. Whenever it or another spirit you control comes to the target of a spell, it phases out. And when it or another spirit you control phases in, create a tap 1/1 white spirit control with flying. I am so happy that they started bringing phasing back. Like, it adds a different aspect to the game where, again, like, previously, like, they were kind of utilizing, like, exile as essentially, like, because phasing is just kind of weird.
It's got some weird edge cases, but I think they happen rarely enough that they're like, okay, we can probably bring it.
Exactly. And while exiling allows you to do certain things like use and abuse ETBs, it doesn't allow you to protect tokens. It doesn't allow you to keep, like, equipment or, like, auras on things. And so, like, with this, it's like, hey, you know what's cool? Let's say every single time you target one of these spirits, you get another one.
I know.
And like, there's just really janky. The card is not coming to mind right now, but like really janky, like target any number of creatures essentially, and they all become white until their turn. They all become black until their turn. Now those cards aren't in budget, unfortunately. After this, I think the white one was, but then after this commander came out, like it's like, nope, not anymore. Yeah. But this commander says, you know what? If you've got a lot of ways to target your creatures, cool. Do so, and all of a sudden you double up your army while protecting your army. I just really like the design of this. I love they brought back phasing. I think that it's a very unique design for this commander, and absolutely love it.
Yeah, and honestly, like, it reminds me of a little bit of like an Orjo Feather, because like you can use your own spells to proactively protect your cards, and a lot of those will be instant speed. So like, sure, someone might try to board wipe, and that'll solve 2/3 of their problems, but you get to remain the other third of a problem.
Exactly. It's like just good luck trying to deal with my board once I'm set up properly and once I have a hand with cards that I can target and do what I need to do.
Yeah, and I mean it's tokens. It's got targeted spells. Phasing doesn't like make auras or equipment drop off, and it's got flying, so it's already got some evasion, so you can like dip out for a little bit, come back in with all your equipment, go whack someone, and then you kind of protects a Voltron plan if you wanted to do it that way. Could. So I mean, there's a lot of flexibility here.
Or just put on like a Swiftfoot Boots onto this, and like, okay, it's got Hexproof, and also if I target it, then it's going away, and you all. Good luck trying to get rid of it then at that point.
Yeah, you basically don't have to worry about ever playing the commander tags.
Exactly. So you're just like, it's one that I just when I saw the design of this one, I'm like, that's very clever, and I just like the way that this one works.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah,
it's unique. It's hard to find unique cards when we have 25,000 cards to choose from.
Goodness, yes, it is.
So phasing being back allows for that.
Awesome. Absolutely. All right, let's take another water break real quick. I'm running low on saliva. It's a strange phrase, something I've ever said before.
Yep.
And we're back. Eddie, how was your water this time?
I was just as good as before.
Oh, good. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Hasn't changed.
Very consistent.
Consistent water in this household.
That's going to be in the review.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. All right. What is your next pick?
So this is my last pick of the most powerful budget commanders of 2023. We're going to have
I guess I should have mentioned we picked 5 each.
We picked 5 each. So we got a total of 10 for everybody to choose from.
What in the world? Okay.
And then we've got kind of our golden pig, as it were, at the end, or just favorite. It might not be the most powerful, but it's awesome. So my last pick is Rona, Herald of Invasion. And if Mitch did this correctly.
Well, I did it correctly, but also something just popped up on my screen, like a little loading thing, like on top of it, but we're good. We're good going.
So up here on the screen, we should have the stained glass art of Rona, Herald of Invasion. And number 1, I really want an altar of her holding like a metal guitar.
Yes, the hand's right there for it.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh my gosh.
Also, the other versions of her are not under $1. So this is the version that is under $1.
Which is kind of funny. When you have like the alt art versions, you usually think those are more expensive, and sometimes like they're so much cheaper.
Yeah. Supply and demand is weird.
Yep.
All right. So Rona, Herald of Invasion, 1 and a blue, so nice and cheap for a 1/3 human wizard. Whenever you cast a legendary spell, untap Rona, Herald of Invasion. She has a tap ability to draw a card and discard a card. And 5 and a Phyrexian black to transform Rona, activated only as a sorcery.
Okay.
On her reverse side, we've got something much creepier. Rona, Tolarian Obliterator.
You could also throw a guitar in there.
You could.
Yeah. Okay, continue.
Phyrexian Wizard now, a 5/5 tramply one. An homage to Phyrexian Obliterator, for sure.
Of course.
Whenever a source deals damage to Rona Tolarian Obliterator, that source's controller exiles a card from their hand at random. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield under your control. Otherwise, you may cast it without paying its mana cost.
Yeah.
Notice it doesn't say an opponent. It just says a source.
Yes.
So you can definitely use effects like, what's the one I'm thinking of? Pestilence.
Sure.
To just repeatedly, like,
gross.
Put your hand onto the board if you really want to.
Gotta love it.
Along with controlling other people's boards. But okay, so Rona, Herald Invasion. So she's got a few pieces of text. When I build a commander like this, I'm mostly focusing on the front side. Like if we turn her around and she becomes an obliterator, great, that's fine.
Yeah.
But most of the time she's going to be on the front face.
Yes.
So at a base level, she draws a card, discards a card. So that's really helpful for making sure you land
Merfolk
drops
looter,
or
Merfolk looter essentially.
Merfolk looter.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have a more consistent deck experience. You're not gonna get flooded, or you're not gonna get land starred as much because you're gonna be able to kind of sculpt your hand a little bit. And whenever you cast a legendary spell, you may untap Rona, Herald Invasion. And WotC hasn't been printing legends at all.
Your Essica deck again, which is legendary tribal, just every single year. Again, how many commanders this year? 390.
Yeah, 390 some.
That's just like legendary creatures. So like outside of that, the number of legendary cards each year is like 500, 600, 700.
That's a fire hose.
It's an absurd amount. So there's support. There's support for this.
Yeah, I did a Scryfall search. There's 700 currently as of this writing, blue or black spells that trigger that legendary spell ability. It doesn't even have to be legendary creatures, just legendary spells. So legendary artifacts, legendary enchantments.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, so basically you're going to be able to loot a lot. There's ways that you can, like, say, whenever you draw a card, draw 2 instead. So now it's card advantage, not just card selection. And I think it's just one of those things that we know they're going to continue printing legends into the ground.
I don't think they're going to stop. They did kind of say like that, like, oh, we're going to slow things down a little bit when it comes to like main set legendaries, but like, which maybe they have, but also they're like, but we're not going to do that for Universes Beyond. Because like that's all legendary.
They're all like characters that should be legendary.
So get ready for like 400 commanders.
Yeah, so I think Rona is just a great card. It's going to have a very consistent game plan since there are so many legends that can be done on a budget. I really like commanders that like let you do the thing, like consistent, like that you don't get blown out or like just sit there and not have anything that happens. And this 100%. Commander lets you do something and do it very consistently, even though we're in a 100-card singleton. Rona's been so good.
I love this pick. It definitely would have been one of my top 5. No offense to my other commanders in there, but also, I mean, there's ways to take advantage of drawing extra, like thought reflection kind of cards, discarding. You can take advantage of that too, and just like there's a lot of different things that you can do with this. And you can focus on the backside too if you'd like. But I absolutely love this pick. Fantastic, good job. Good job.
Yeah, and I think with all of these picks, like sure there's some like low hanging fruit like Inga and Essica that are just like really solid good cards, but I think some of these like I picked. Partially because they're not like super popular. They're not like, and I think Rona's one that's kind of an underdog. Like she should be played more than she is.
100%, 100%. Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, but not as good as my next pick. If my computer would work, there we go. All right, Bartolome del Presidio, a 2/1 vampire knight for Orzhov colors. Sacrifice another creature or artifact, put a counter on it. It's an incredibly simple commander.
Yep.
Incredibly simple, but I just am absolutely in love with this one because it's like, hey, you know what? All I do is sacrifice things. And if literally this did nothing, if this was like sacrifice a creature or artifact, nothing, it would still be on this list and still be fantastic because when it comes to Aristocrat style decks, they want 3 things. They want creature fodder, they want benefits from sacrificing creatures, and they want free sacrifice outlets. And this is an incredible sacrifice outlet because this is like, hey, not only can you sacrifice creatures, but you can also sacrifice artifacts. So you can go really heavy into, well, sacrificing everything, essentially, getting benefits from that. And absolutely love it. Just having a low to the ground, free sacrifice out in your command zone for both things is huge. And again, you also get counters on this too. So you can just play into, if you really want to take your opponents out with a Voltron, you really could with this. You absolutely could. Or, taking advantage of like power cards like the Disciple of Bolas. Is that the one where it's like enters the battlefield, sacrifice a creature, draw equal power? Yeah, you could be like, okay, I'm kind of stalling right now. Let me just sacrifice my 2-mana commander, draw 15 cards, and then recast for 4.
It's also a vampire and a knight, not irrelevant types.
That's true.
So you can definitely work that in if you really want to. But yeah, I totally agree. That was the first thing that popped in my mind. Is for commanders that care about this, it's very easy to find cards that have good death triggers. But the less budget things, the Phyrexian altars of the world are the more expensive parts of the puzzle. So
and there's still some very good free sacrifice outlets like Viserys here, et cetera, Wolf Strider. But this one, again, when it comes to sacrificing multiple permanent types, there's not many out there at all. And I can't even think of another free one that's like, hey, to sacrifice a permanent, like Claws of Gix comes out, but that's like you have to pay 1 for that still. So like when it comes to actually sacrificing multiple things, there really aren't many at all. So you can really lean heavily into like Zulpor Cutthroat as well as Marionette Master for like finishers.
And like all of these could be souped up if you go out of budget, but this one I think especially like Smothering Tithe anybody, like just make all the treasures and then sacrifice it. Yeah.
Smothering Tithe, Thornway Procession, triplers, doublers, all the things. But yes, absolutely. And budget's still very, very good as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, really quick, let's take a quick break before we jump into our favorites from this year. And we are back. And Eddie, although it's probably already up on the screen, what's your favorite Commander of the year?
My golden pick of the year is another kind of underplayed one, I think. It's not super popular. It was in the Aftermath set.
Well, that's because it was an Aftermath thought of everyone.
Yeah.
They were like, wait, we just got all the... What is this set?
Yeah, people just genuinely didn't know it existed.
They just skipped out on it. They're like, eh.
Yeah. Tazri, Stalwart Survivor, returning character for a 2 and a white, 3/3 human warrior. Each creature you control has tap, add 1 mana of any of this creature's colors. Spend this mana only to activate an ability of a creature. Activate only if this creature has another activated ability. And then Wooburg, tap to mill 5 cards and put all creature cards with activated abilities that aren't mana abilities from among the milled cards into your hand. So this is almost a corollary to the Inga and Essica pick from number 1. So like Inga and Essica is all about like creature spells and things like that. This is all about activated ability tribal.
So what you're saying is they're somewhat similar, but the one that is 5 color is better for you?
I think this, if anything, demonstrably proves that Simic reigns supreme, because Inga and Essica is stronger and more popular. I mean,
yeah, but you picked this as your favorite, so
yeah, that's true.
5 color wins.
I have a soft spot for it.
5 color wins.
No, I adore activated abilities. They're kind of like everyone is so focused on enters the battlefield abilities, rightfully so. They're strong, you get your value right away. They're hard to interact with, like XYZ. There's tons of reasons to love enter the battlefields, leave the battlefield abilities. But then there's, these, activated abilities that everyone just kind of forgets about.
100%.
And there's so many cards that have really good activated abilities. And this just lets you activate them more. Why not have more mana to activate more abilities?
Go heavy into it.
If you stall out, you can activate Tazri to look at 5 cards and get some more gas. Pro tip in Scryfall, what you can do to find out if a card has an activated ability, this is in Wooburg, so you don't even need to like narrow it down by color identity. You just search for like Oracle text, like O, and then colon, and then just search for, in quotations, another colon. Every activated ability ever has that colon ability in it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Ta-da! Now you have your list. You can narrow it down by any other, niche type of like themes or archetypes that you want to build into. But
then you put USD minus $1 and a penny.
Yeah. So you need to keep budget. Of course, golden rule.
Go.
I love activated abilities because it's almost like playing at instant speed. Activated abilities, some activated abilities say activated only as a sorcery.
Wizards,
much to Mitch's
Wizards, because you are no fun. Because you're like, oh, we don't want to make it too complex.
Yeah, I remember there was that one Golgari commander from Strixhaven that just got you.
I hate that. They're like, oh, activate only as a sorcery. It's that not Witherbloom. Is it what? Willow Dusk? Willow Dusk? Is that the name? Yeah. Wizards. Why? Because you're like, well, we don't want to make it so players that want to attack that player, and then they can just take advantage of the damage that they're taking, and then cry about it, Wizards. Cry about it.
I think I hit a sore spot.
You did.
Right. But no, I love activated abilities. You kind of, most of the time, can play at instant speed. So like, if you have a variety of abilities, some that draw you cards, some that ramp you, some that control the board, you can kind of just wait until the end step before your turn and be like, okay, this is what I need in this moment. I'm going to do that one.
100%. So wait, then you're saying in your Scryfall search, you also do minus O colon
only as a sorcery.
Only a sorcery speed.
I mean, so you certainly could do that if you have Mitch's same issues. There
are a few hills. Actually, there are many hills I'll die on. That is one of them. That is one of them.
And so there's always more activated abilities. There's plenty of clean ways to upgrade this. Activated abilities, especially by giving your creatures mana abilities, like Seedborn Muse. Why not do this 4 times
because that's not a budget card.
Right. Clear, like I was saying, you can get upgrade paths if you turns out that you like the deck. And it's much like Mitch said, it's in 5 colors, so go whatever.
Well, and this you can go like Zerta Companion too if you want, like, because if you just really want to go all heavy into all activated abilities, you could go Zerta, right? That's the fox, elemental fox. Zerta?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can go Zerta. Like I did a Kenny Zerta like all activated ability tribal deck, which is a lot of fun.
The new Agatha is like right around $1. She reduces the cost of activated abilities based on her power.
There you go. And has an activated ability herself, I believe.
And has an activated ability to pump the board herself. So, yeah, there's so many fun ways that you can build into this. So
absolutely. Love the pick. Only 12 cents. Goodness gracious. Yeah. All right, so my favorite, unfortunately, is over $1. Yeah, I broke it. So you beat me on that. You did beat me on that. So for like the best budget ones, I kept to that. But for my favorite, because of a very specific reason, I picked Rummel, Biologist. A 5-color commander. Go figure, a 5-color commander for me. 3/3 human wizard for Wooburg. As enters battlefield, choose a creature type. Slivers you control, a non-token creature you control of the chosen type, and other creature types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. Pay 3 and tap. You make a 1/1 color sliver creature token.
Oh my goodness. Like when they put that, the same is true for creature spells you control and things that aren't on the battlefield. There's only like a dozen cards in all of Magic that say like this is true, like for Microsense Lattice, things like that change
that mention outside of the actual battlefield,
like what's going on.
Yeah.
And that just like when you have something that breaks such a fundamental rule of the game, it enables such nonsense.
Well, and so like the base level of this commander, right, and probably the initial design thought is, hey, okay, so you just have slivers plus goblins, and then it's a sliver goblin tribal deck that can do really cool things because like those lords in the deck kind of overlap.
Together.
Exactly. Or slivers and elves. That's not why I picked this one. Not that I don't have a sliver deck. I mean, not that I'm not a sliver fan. Slivers are cool, but
they're not budget.
They're not budget typically. No, typically not. But what I really like is, again, utilizing, like you said, kind of just the breaking of the Magic rule, where all these creatures on my deck now are also whatever creature type I picked. And so I can utilize like a Goblin Matron, which ETBs, it's Goblin Matron, right? I think.
Yep.
Goblin Matron, ETB, go search live for any Goblin card. So I have Rummel in play. I play it, I choose Goblin, because I have that Goblin Matron in my hand. I play the Goblin Matron, and all of a sudden I can tutor for any creature in my deck. And then I can get that into my hand, and I can do whatever crazy things I want with it. And you can do that kind of like a mirror entity kind of deck, where you do some crazy things with it. And I love being able to utilize a commander in a different, unexpected way. And this allows you to do that because, again, it breaks a rule in Magic.
Yeah, and I mean, one nice thing is like if you're playing with a new pot of people that haven't seen the deck, like Rummel doesn't say what creature type you chose until you announce it to the table. So like people will have no idea what kind of nonsense you're going to be doing. So.
Well, and all you have to do is with this one also you just include some blank spells in there to reset it, and then be like, okay, like, oh, this time I need to, maybe I've got like a wizard cycling card, which is a thing for some reason. But yeah, you have a wizard cycling card where you cycle away a creature, and then all of a sudden you go get a wizard out of your deck, or that one sliver. Yes, slivers as well. There's a sliver cycling card that allows you to actually go get any sliver in your deck by discarding any sliver in your hand. So if you literally choose sliver with this, it can be pretty broken because you're just like, you already.
What if every one of your like special cycling abilities was now a demonic tutor?
Exactly. And you go get the exact creature that you need for the exact situation that you're in. You can do some pretty crazy, janky lord tribal things that are unexpected and fun. So
yeah, and I think like some decks you need decks like this. There's so many cogs and gears that you need to like have the exact balance of things. And like as a deck builder, like it's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge. So like hit just the right balance of like card advantage, mana advantage, and then also these kind of niche abilities, and have it like eventually have a win con. And there's just so many moving parts that are fun to keep track of. So
absolutely. Yeah. Alrighty, I think that's all my picks. That's all yours.
That's
all
we
didn't miss anything? Okay, well, awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining me from the jungle. Again, it's a completely separate area that Eddie is in. Eddie is in a completely separate area. Not at all viewable. I don't know if you can see my hand there, but I try. Not at all in the same room right now.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I love 2023. Like we've had just a deluge of cards, so it was kind of fun to look through them and pick out the diamonds in the rough.
Yeah, it took quite a while to go through everything. And we got another episode. Actually, I don't know what order I'm going to do. Maybe I've already had the episode, or we're going to have another episode where we're talking about even more cards. So make sure you're looking forward to that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on. Make sure you comment below with your thoughts on all these picks. And of course, as always, thanks again, and blame Eddie in the comments below. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.